Hi guys, here is part 2 of section 2.5 day 3 notes. Still solving radical equations. This time I've got fractions on both sides of my equal sign. So if I factor out this numerator or denominator here, I factored out correctly, I see it's the same as that I have over here. So my common denominator for this entire equation would be x minus 2 times x minus 4. And that's what I'm going to multiply everything by. So when I multiply this times this equation here, the x minus 2 and the x minus 4 cancel out, and I just have 4 left over. When I multiply my common denominator times my first fraction on the other side of the equal sign, notice your x minus 2's would cancel out, so you just have 3x times x minus 4. And then plus, this time when I multiply times my common denominator, notice the x minus 4 cancels out, so I've got 2 times x minus 2. Alright, so let's go ahead and distribute and solve this guy. I've got 4 is equal to 3x times x, that's 3x squared. 3x times negative 4 is negative 12x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. I'll move this 4 to the other side. I get 3x squared. Negative 12 plus 2 would be negative 10x minus 8 is equal to 0. This time this guy's going to factor, so I've got 3x and x. And then my factors of 8, let's try 2 and 4. 4 times 3 would be 12, minus 2 would be 10. So I want negative 12, positive 2 to be negative 10. And then solving it, I've got x is equal to negative 2/3. X is equal to 4. Now we need to be careful. Let's go back and check and make sure neither of this gives me a bad solution. Remember that big fancy E word called extraneous. So sometimes the beautiful little math gives us a solution that doesn't actually work. When I plug 4 back into here, I get 0 in my denominator as well as for this fraction here. So since 4 is actually on one of our asymptotes, it is not going to be a part of our solution set. My only solution is going to be negative 2/3. All right, let's try the U try A. Again, factoring this denominator, I get x minus 6, x plus 3. So that's going to be my common denominator. So I've got 2x. The x plus 3 will cancel out, and I've got times x minus 6. And then plus 3. The x minus 6 cancels out this time, and I've got times x plus 3. And then when I multiply this equation by the common denominator, the entire denominator cancels out, and I just have 27. All right, with our distribution, 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 6 is negative 12x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 3 is 9. Got a quadratic equation, so I'm going to put everything to one side, get it set equal to 0, and see if I can factor. So I've got 2x squared. Negative 12 plus 3 is minus 9x. Moving that 27 over, I've got 9 minus 27, that's going to be negative 18. Let's see if we can factor this guy. I've got 2x and x. All right, factors of 18, I've got 2 and 9 I could try, or 6 and 3. I'm trying to get to negative 9. Let's try 3 here and 6 here. So I need an x over here. 2 times 6 would be 12, and 12 minus 3 would give me the 9. I need a negative 12, positive 3. So my two solutions are going to be, when I set them equal to 0, this is going to be x is equal to negative 3/2, and x is equal to 6. What do we have to do at this point? Hopefully you're screaming at home saying, check those solutions, make sure I don't have an extraneous. What happens when we plug 6 into this fraction or this fraction here? I get 0 in the denominator. So x equals 6 is not a solution. My only solution is negative 3/2. All right, for part B, first thing, make sure you see the negative sign out front. That would change things dramatically. There's a new word for you, drastically. If I factor this out, you notice I have the same two factors that I have over here. My common denominator is going to be x times x plus 6. I'm going to multiply everything times x plus 6, x times x plus 6. When I multiply this equation by it, I just have negative 12. The denominator completely cancels. When I multiply this equation by it, I've got to multiply my numerator times the other guy, which is x. And then this one I've got plus x minus 2. The x will cancel, I need to multiply it times x plus 6. Alright, and then I've got negative 12 is equal to 2x plus x times x is x squared. 6x minus 2x would be 4x. And then negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. Got a quadratic equation again. When I add 12 to both sides, these guys are going to go away. So I get 0 is equal to x squared, and then 2 plus 4 would be plus 6x. Factoring that, I get x times x plus 6 is equal to 0. Solving for 0, we get x is equal to 0, and x is equal to negative 6. However, when we go back and check those guys, when I plug in 0 into this fraction, you get 0 in the denominator, so that's not going to work. And if I plug negative 6 into this fraction or this fraction, we're going to get 0 in the denominator, so it's not going to work for that one. So the answer to this one would be no solution. Neither of these solutions work, they're both extraneous. So what that means is both of these graphs never cross each other. If you're curious to see how that possibly happened, go plug them into Desmos. It's kind of a cool looking graph.